Triggering incident, massacre in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir on April 22, 2025, a coordinated terrorist attack shook the serene town of Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. Armed militants launched a brutal assault around 2:25 p.m., targeting a bustling tourist zone. In just over 30 minutes, 26 lives were lost, including civilians and a decorated Indian Navy officer on leave. The attackers displayed chilling precision, selectively targeting victims and exploiting dense forest cover to vanish before reinforcements could arrive. The audacity and timing of the attack suggest sophisticated planning and cross-border support. Infiltration route and tactical movement. Initial intelligence reports indicate the militants infiltrated from Pakistan, occupied Kashmir Po-K, utilizing the rugged terrain of the Prager sector, long known for its difficult topography and poor surveillance infrastructure. Exploiting interior forest routes and natural cover, they remained undetected until the moment of the assault. This demonstrates a shift in militant tactics, from frontal infiltration to deep forest penetration, making detection harder and response slower. Timeline of the attack: 2:25 p.m. First gunshots reported. Chaos erupts in the tourist zone. 2:30-2, 50 p.m. Multiple gunmen open fire in coordinated waves. Civilians targeted, panic spreads. 2:55 p.m. Last known shots fired. Attackers retreat into nearby forests. 3:00 p.m. Onward security forces arrive. Initial cordon set, but assailants vanish. The entire operation lasted roughly 35 minutes, during which the assailants maintained tactical superiority using hit and run techniques and terrain familiarity. Manhunt and intelligence operations. In the aftermath, Indian forces launched a massive manhunt across the Anantnag region, deploying drones, thermal imaging tech, and special forces units. However, as of early May, the militants remain at large, raising serious concerns over border security, local collaboration, and the effectiveness of surveillance infrastructure in high-risk zones. Strategic military doctrines in play. India's Cold Start Doctrine (CSD), aimed at enabling rapid mobilization and limited war objectives, focuses on swift, integrated strikes across multiple fronts to prevent international diplomatic intervention before objectives are achieved, seeks to avoid full-scale war while delivering punitive retaliation. Pakistan's NCW, new concept of warfighting, prioritizes preemptive, aggressive maneuvers, relies on quick seizure of strategic territories, e.g. Amritsar, to gain leverage, heavy use of JF-17 Thunder jets, Khalid tanks, and irregular warfare tactics like infiltrations and sabotage, emphasizes first mover advantage due to Pakistan's relative conventional asymmetry. Pakistan's offensive strategy projected airstrikes, JF-17 jets to target forward Indian bases and supply lines, armor thrusts, Khalid MBD spearheading blitz attacks toward Amritsar and Pathankot. Sabotage ops, disruption of the Jammu-Udhampur highway, severing Kashmir's logistical link to India. Naval maneuvers, submarine deployment to lay sea mines near Mumbai and Visakhapatnam, aiming to stall India's naval operations without triggering an open naval conflict. India's retaliatory blueprint: air superiority, swift deployment of Rafale, Su-30 MKI, and MiG-21 squadrons to neutralize forward Pakistani air assets and command structures. Deep penetration strikes, cruise missile and air strikes on Islamabad, Bahawalpur, and Quetta, targeting military installations, radar arrays, and logistics hubs. Armored advance, strike corps moving toward Lahore, Multan, and cutting into Sindh to cripple Pakistani supply lines and economic arteries. Maritime power projection, Indian Navy to establish sea dominance, enforce a blockade on Karachi port, and potentially strike Gwadar. Dual front engagement strategy: Northern Sector Kashmir, operations focused on counter-insurgency, neutralizing sleeper cells, and cutting off infiltration routes in the Panjal range, precision raids on known militant safe havens in Poke, southern sector Punjab and Sindh, deep armored incursions aimed at forcing territorial concessions, strategic strikes on Karachi and Hyderabad to cripple Pakistan's economy, especially the port infrastructure. Escalation risks and nuclear flashpoints with India's swift territorial gains. Intelligence sources suggest Pakistan's National Command Authority convened emergency meetings to authorize potential use of tactical nuclear weapons, TNWS. Pakistan's full-spectrum deterrence, a doctrine, allows use of low-yield nuclear weapons even on its own soil to halt advancing Indian forces. This development presents an existential threat, where a limited conflict could rapidly spiral into a nuclear exchange. India, in contrast, adheres to a no-first-use NFU policy, but maintains a massive retaliatory capability designed to inflict unacceptable damage if deterrence fails. Geopolitical and humanitarian implications. Global diplomacy. The international community, especially the UN, US, Russia, and China, would be forced into a rapid mediation effort to prevent nuclear escalation. Economic fallout. Disruption of trade routes, oil shipments, and investment flows in South Asia. Stock markets would nosedive. Human cost. Displacement of millions, refugee crises in border areas, and potential nuclear fallout with global repercussions. Conclusion. The Pahalgam massacre was not just a terrorist act. It was a spark in a powder keg of long-standing hostility. The military doctrines, strategic calculations, and ideological hard lines on both sides now point toward a rapidly escalating conflict. Whether the region steps back from the brink or plunges into the unthinkable may depend on the next 72 hours of military and diplomatic maneuvering.